name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon and share all kinds of awesome tips with you, things I've learned throughout the years. I'm going to share with you my favorite recipe for Christmas, and that's the chocolate oatmeal cookies. And we used to have them in school, and then also my grandmothers and mother used to always make these for us, and all through the year, but especially around Christmas time. They're really easy to make. They call them cookies, but they're really candy as far as I'm concerned. Real quick recipe, something you can do with the kids and let them actually get in the kitchen with you too. So welcome to my kitchen. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. I have a few hacks I'm going to share with you along the way too. So first of all, this is super easy to make. I mean, the easiest cookies ever. So I usually use just some kind of a saucepan like that. Real easy to do. I'm going to have also some wax paper, and make sure you use it's kind of a waxy side, so there's two sides to this, waxy and then kind of a flat side. So we want to use the waxy side, and we'll get ready for that in just a minute. Now this calls for, I'll go ahead and give you the complete recipe, and I'll also post it down at the bottom, okay, so you can see it as well. Okay, it calls for 2 cups of sugar, 1 stick of butter. Now you can use margarine if you'd like, but I'm telling you, you can tell the difference when using butter and margarine. So I always like to use my butter. And then 1/2 cup of cocoa. Now I use a little bit more because we like ours really chocolatey. You want 1/2 cup of sweet milk. Now you can use pet milk as well if you'd like to, evaporated milk. Also 1/4 teaspoon of salt. That kind of takes a little bit of the salt away from, of the sweetness part away from it. And so that's really good to add just about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. 1½ cups of oats, and do the quick oats. That's going to be better. And 1½ cups of peanut butter. The peanut butter, I've got a hack for you. And so this is really going to be interesting when I show you how to do this. Now what we're going to do is put all these ingredients together. Then I'm going to boil it and then pour the oats and the peanut butter over it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have made this before, and this is from a whole lot of years of experience. This is my 2 cups of sugar. So let's go ahead and pour that in there. Okay, now the recipe doesn't say to do this, but this is my little bit, it's almost 3/4 cup of cocoa. I like cocoa better. I don't know, it seems like it gives it much more of a chocolatey taste. So I'm going ahead and put this over here to the side. Now, what you'll do is stir these two together. Now, if you don't, what's going to happen is the cocoa may not mix as well. So let me go ahead. I'm going to maneuver this down just a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. So watch me cooking. Okay. And then, so this is what we'll do. We're going ahead and mix these two together. Okay. And then I'll also add just a bit of salt to it as well. Okay, and again, 1/4 teaspoon. But I want to get this and make sure, because cocoa is going to have just a little bit of the little, yeah, see what I'm talking about right here. And so I'm going to press it down, and this makes it blend in really good. Okay, so you won't have any kind of lumps whatsoever in this. Okay, now I'll go ahead and raise this back up again. Okay, now we want just about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And by the way, go to Albertville Foodland Plus, and they have their store brands, which is just as good as any national brand. And so I'm going to add the salt in there. So there we go, the salt. Again, I'm mixing it as we go, okay? All right. And I've got my stove top going, so I'm ready for that. Now, what I want to do next is add the milk. And this is 1/2 cup of sweet milk, skim milk. I'm sorry, just won't do it. It won't be as creamy. So this is going to be a whole lot better, okay? Over here to the side. And here I'm going to do a little bit of a stirring technique there with it as well. I'd like to get those 3 ingredients, or 4 ingredients when I count the salt. I'd like to get those ingredients all blended in together. Okay? And I like the way that looks. See, it's kind of a picture where it's all together. Now, like I told you, my butter. Okay, so I've got to get my butter in there. Now, what I like to do is break the butter up in pieces. And I'll go ahead and put this down again for you so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm breaking the butter up as well, okay? And it just helps it to melt. Now, it's crucial you put this to a rolling boil, okay? So it's got to be a rolling boil. And we're going ahead and put this on the stove. So what I'm doing, I'm breaking up the butter. And this will help the butter to melt a whole lot faster. And another thing you can do, I just didn't do it this time, so it doesn't scorch, you can have the sugar already in the microwave. Put it in the microwave, put it in there for just about 1 minute, and that would keep you from scorching this. Now, if you keep a hand on it, and if you just keep stirring it, you'll be okay. All right, let's go ahead and put the camera back up again, and here I am. So let's go ahead and get this started. I'll go ahead and put this on the oven. Move a few things over because I got some hacks for you, okay? This is going to make life a lot easier in the kitchen for you. Let's go ahead and move some of my things here out of the way. And always got, so I've got asthma, so I've always got to keep some water to the side. Okay, so this is just a little quick, here we go, this is what I needed to do. Go ahead and move this for you again so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Okay, now this is just a little stove top that I got. I found it at one of the department stores. I forgot which one it is. And I've had this thing for a number of years. And so I used to do a whole lot of candle making classes. So when I did the candle making classes, sometimes I would do a double boiler. And with a double boiler, you know what that means. That means you got to keep an eye on everything, but you're not as apt to have any scorching done. Now you're going to watch me do, I'm telling you to stay with it, okay, the whole time. So stay with this so that it doesn't scorch. But I've got a hack. I want to show you what to do. Okay, now we've got a cup and a half of your oats. Now this is the quick oats, okay? It's like a quick minute oat. And I like any of them we're going to do, but I like the oats that are just a little bit, see the texture of these? I'm not sure you can see that through the screen, but this is a finer grade of oatmeal. I like that a little bit better. Okay, go ahead and take a little look at this. Yeah, this is going to do good. Now, I want this to go to a rolling boil stage. Now, what I mean by rolling boil is this is going to be just boiling like crazy. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a few minutes. Okay, now another thing that I'm going to do, and I'm going to reach over here and grab another tablespoon. Okay, we're going to have a cup and a half of peanut butter that's going to go in here too. Now once this starts boiling, and it's boiled for 3 minutes, we'll get to that stage shortly. And I've got this turned down on lower, not low, but just kind of a medium high, because I'm talking to you. Normally I would have it on high, and I just be going crazy with this, but normally it would be on high. But I'm talking to you, and I don't want this to scorch. Okay, now I've got a hack. You know how it is when you add peanut butter to a glass bowl, and it's just going to stick, and you're not going to get all of it out, and it just kind of makes a mess. I got a hack. Just get some Pam spray. Make sure you shake it up, okay? Now, don't put a big film of this on it, but if you'll shake it up good, and then just put just a little bit, spray it like that, okay, in your measuring cup, then that peanut butter is not going to stick. And I like this one. It's a butter flavor, I believe. No, it's canola oil, but I like the butter flavor too of the spray. Now at Bruce's Foodland Plus, I wanted to mention that they have their store brand. I didn't get it this time, but they have, because they happen to have the pan on sale. But at the Albertville Foodland Plus as well, they have their store brands, which are just as good as any national brand. Now you can see how this is melting. Okay, that butter's got to melt. We got to get this to a rolling boil. And I'm keeping up with what time it is, okay, because I've got to go into a commercial break in just a couple of minutes. Okay, now let's go ahead and finish with the hack, because I needed to go ahead and get that started stirring. All right, I want a cup and a half of this. And you can go a little bit over the cup and a half. It's not going to hurt a thing if you do. Okay, see what I mean? It's not sticking. How normally it would stick to the measuring cup. And I like my glass measuring cups better than the plastic ones. I don't know. I'm just a glass person. All right, how much we got in there? Almost a cup and a half. Let's go ahead and measure it. And it doesn't have to be like exactly on the mark, but pretty close to it. Okay, so that's going to take like nearly this whole thing of I've got the Jif brand, but any brand, and again, Albertville Foodland Plus, their store brands are as good as any national brand. Okay, so I've got that ready. And let's go ahead and keep this over here to the side. Oh, and by the way, if you are a crafter, you need to keep these jars. Go ahead and clean them out, keep them, take the label off, whatever, and you'll be able to store your things. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and do this. We're getting pretty close to it. See, it's almost getting to a boiling stage, but now that's not enough. I want this rolling, okay? I want it to be a rolling boil. See what I'm talking about? It's getting to that stage, but not quite where I want it yet. Okay. Yeah, I want this thing to boil now for 3 minutes. Oh, it's beginning to get to that point. And I'll go ahead and move my camera over here just a bit more so you can see what I'm talking about. See how that's getting almost, it's about to start boiling, but not rolling boil yet. Get my timer ready. You want to keep stirring it, okay? All right, now it's about to start boiling. And you're going to love this candy. Now, you can put this in a buttered dish, but we like to get these and put them kind of like in a little patty, like. So that turns out good. Okay, it's about to start rolling. And when it starts rolling, boiling, what I'm going to do is throw us into a commercial break. And then we'll be back before too long. Okay, because I want you to watch every single thing I do here. Okay. Tell you what, let's go ahead and go into a commercial break right now, and we'll be right back shortly.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales look forward to serving you. And you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Fort Payne and Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by the locations in Fort Payne and Gadsden. We sincerely look forward to serving you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and my employees and I want to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. With everything going on right now, your rest is so important. That's why we're having the biggest MyPillow sale ever. Not only are my bed pillows as low as $19.98, but you can get the best body pillows ever. Regular $89.98, now only $29.98. Take your rest on the go with our Roll and Go Anywhere MyPillows for only $14.98. And we have our new couch and accent pillows. They aren't just for looks. They have MyPillow's patented adjustable fill that gives you that amazing MyPillow comfort. In this economy, you get the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code and you get deep discounts on body, couch, bolster pillows, and so much more, including my original bed pillows for as low as $19.98. Please order now while quantities last.
We're about to make your life just a little bit easier. Join Tony and April at Tony's Pizza and Subs in Center and Cedar Bluff, Alabama. We're cooking up some hot and delicious pizzas, and we'd like to bake one for you. We are home-owned, not a chain, and our pizzas are fresh, homemade with our dough made fresh daily. We have a full menu including fresh, never frozen wings, salad bars, suds, sandwiches, and much more. In Center, we have a private dining area for birthday parties, club meetings, and other events. We'll be waiting for you at 1820 East Bypass and Center, and in Cedar Bluff, 3812 Alabama Highway 9. For your convenience, you can call in your order at our center location, 256-92 Pizza, or Cedar Bluff, 256-557-8651. And we enjoy making your life easier.
Okay, we're back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. Find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. This is the rolling boil I was telling you about. So it just goes all over the place. And that's what you want. And this is how you're going to make this and turn into a candy. So I'm going to go ahead and move a couple things out of the way, so we can go ahead and get ready for the next phase. Okay, so there it goes. Now, my wax paper. Okay, I told you about that. Now, what we're going to do, this has boiled for exactly 3 minutes. It's got to be exact, okay? Because if you do it under, well, it's going to be kind of runny like, and that's not going to be good. And see how easy my peanut butter is coming out of that jar? Look at that. See? That way you don't waste any of that awesomeness. I love peanut butter. I could eat peanut butter like all day long. As a matter of fact, when I was in the corporate world, this is what I would do. I'd carry peanut butter around with me. And that's what I would have for lunch a lot of times. Okay, let's go ahead and put this down so you can see what I'm talking about and watch me work. Okay, now there's my peanut butter. So I've got that in here. Now it's better to go ahead and put the peanut butter in first. Okay, do that. And that'll start melting, but you got to work kind of fast with this, okay? Because it will start setting up and it'll start getting too hard. But see, that's really, really hot, that chocolate, because I had that to a rolling boil. And here we go. You want it completely together. See what I'm doing right here? You don't want any streaks. You want this to be perfect. I've tried almond butter. Almond butter is really good with this too. And so here we go. See, it's beginning to do its thing. I like that. Okay, and I'll have to tell you, there's always a line of people wanting to eat out of the bowl once it starts cooling off. It's super good. Okay, see, it's hard to begin to get thicker. Look at that. Now I'm going to have to work really fast with the oats. Okay, and I don't want to waste any of this awesomeness. So here we go. I got a feeling Phil's going to be right behind me waiting on the spoon. He likes to eat the chocolate out of it. So I'm going to put this right here. So it's about to start doing its thing. Get that out of the way. And here we go. Okay. See how it started setting up already? We got to work kind of fast with this. Go ahead and get everything stirred in real good. Oh, and you can use crunchy peanut butter. You can use smooth peanut butter, just whatever strikes your fancy. Look at that. See how creamy it is? Now, if you had used, like skim milk, it's just not the same. It doesn't set up good enough. All right, then I'm going to start working on this really super fast. I hope you can see what I've got right here. This is my wax paper. So let's go ahead and start working real quick. So there we go. There's one. And again, you can set this up and put it in a, like in a bowl if you want to, and cut it up in little squares. You can always do that. I'm looking just to make sure you can see what I'm doing. And look at that. This is really good. Now, this is something you can do really fast. Your guests don't mind watching you make candy. So if you got somebody just coming over your house and maybe you didn't expect them coming, throw some of this chocolate together. If everybody likes chocolate. I've only met a few people in my lifetime, excuse me, who did not like chocolate. I can't think of who in the world that was. Do you like chocolate? If you don't like chocolate, do you mind responding to me as to why you don't like chocolate? Now, if you ever scorch this, you cannot get the scorch taste out. You are stuck. Okay, look at that. See, it makes a lot of candy. And I'm making it pretty big. It's not little bite sizes. You can do little bite sizes, whatever you want to do. And this is such an easy, and again, now the big important thing, the huge important thing right here, you've got to make sure that you do not go over the 3 minutes in boiling this, okay? I can see Phil's hand out there. He's ready for me to give him this bowl here so he can eat out of it. Okay, I'm about through. Okay, honey, here's the bowl. You can eat out of the bowl. Okay, let's make sure that he gets his bowl that he can eat the stuff out of. Okay, now see, this is setting up already. And this is such an easy, like if you wanted to do gift giving, you know, football season, you know, everybody wants to watch football and then, you know, your college and all that stuff going on. We're going to have New Year's coming up and people will be watching football games all day. This is just something good. You can just put it in a little bowl somewhere. And this, by the way, this stuff, if it lasts in your house, this stuff right here is going to last, oh gosh, like over 2 weeks. If it lasts that long at your house, that's going to be the deal. So see how easy that was to put together. Now I'm going to move this over to the side because I got a few more things I wanted to show you too. You know, a lot of folks talk about, and we had a segment, and the segment, you know, just a few days ago was about how can I have a garden in the wintertime? How can I do that? Easy peasy. Let me show you something. So I had an onion. Now this was just 2 days ago, okay? So I had an onion and I got to thinking about this. If you can make, I'll show you this one first. If you can get the top part of a cabbage, this right here was the top part of the cabbage. And remember I told you about how you can tear that off. As a matter of fact, let me run to the refrigerator and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I had to go, but I had to so I could show you what I'm talking about. So this is a cabbage that I've got. I'm going to make some slaw out of this. And this makes a really good freezer slaw or refrigerator slaw. And so what I'll do is I'll mince it up and I'll put some olive oil and some vinegar and a little bit of sugar and a little bit of salt. And then this will keep in the refrigerator for weeks. It just kind of pickles it. But I wanted to show you this part. See this part right here. Now, when you're shopping for a cabbage, what you want to do is get one of these as thick as possible. It needs to be at least a ½ inch. See how that's setting up about a ½ inch on top? Or actually, this is actually the bottom of the cabbage. But see how this right here is setting up? At least an inch. Because sometimes you'll buy these, and this will be cut just almost the same size or cut right down with the cabbage. You want one that's kind of this size. So see how, if I can show you a little bit better. See how that is right there? Okay, so pretend I've cut this off and I'm going to stick this in some water and you'll put it in the water, you know, just this part right here, by the way, upside down. And what's going to happen is just like I've done with this onion. What's going to happen, now it's got to be in a shallow, see I've just got an old Cool Whip thing right here. It's got to be in a shallow, just a little bit of water. You don't want to drown it, in other words. And what's going to happen, just like the onion, see how that right there has already got some little roots growing out of it? So I'm going to plant this and I'm going to have some onions in the wintertime in my house because I've got a big pot right here. Okay, now this right here, this is the cabbage. That cabbage looked exactly like that just a few weeks ago. Now it took about 3 weeks, no, a little bit over 2 weeks, just under 3 weeks for it to look like this. Now what this is, see this came out of that bottom part of that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's another little one right here. So I've got 5 little cabbages that are growing out of what used to look like that. Right there. Isn't that amazing? Never buy a cabbage again. So this is what I do every time I buy a cabbage now. I just started doing this a few weeks ago. I found out about it from one of my friends. And so what you can do is just cut that part right there off. And again, put it in a bowl, just like I did the onion. And again, make sure there's just a shallow bit of water in there. You want just enough to cover that little hub right there, okay? And then once it starts growing its roots, kind of like this is doing, so that onion right there. In just a couple of weeks, I'm going to go ahead and put this down in some dirt. And then we're going to have some onions. Wouldn't that be amazing? But take a look at that. So there's so many things that you can do to save money. And I'm here to help you do that. So anyway, there's some cabbage. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? You know, this is a real good, you know, kids are always wanting to know, where do groceries come from? Where does food come from? The grocery store? Well, it actually comes from, you know, just like this, okay? And see, this is growing into a cabbage right here. So there's a little head right there coming through. Now, this right here, this will wind up eventually tearing this part off. And I'll show you. Look, here's another one. See that little cabbage head coming up? And there's just something about doing something like this. And so there's another one, little cabbage head coming up. And kids get to see all this stuff. And I'll tell you, they're going to be hooked. They're going to want to do gardening. And you know what? They're not going to be the only ones hooked. You're going to be hooked too. So I'll go ahead and put this over here to the side. So let's go ahead and talk about the onion. Okay, same deal. Take a look at that. Look at the little roots that are growing up out of the, I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe if I do it like this with my hand. Little roots that are growing. Isn't that amazing? All of this just from a regular onion. Yeah. So one more thing. We're going to have to get ready to go. But I wanted to show this to you. So I found these onions, and these are my favorite ones. They're the Green Giant sweet onions. And see, this is exactly what it looked like before I put it in this water. It's only been in this water for 2 days. So what I did, make sure you're real careful when you're doing this. So I wanted to put some, I made ham, that's what I did. And I always like to get onion and put it down in the browning bags when I'm cooking my ham. And so make sure you cut off enough of that now. See, like I did with this one. Make sure you cut off enough to where it's going to grow in that water. Okay, and again, there's just a regular onion. So guess what? I'm going to have these things growing in the house. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There were 7 of these onions in this bag right here. So I'm not going to have to buy any more onions. Look at there. And every time you do this, save that part. You're just throwing money away. And you're saving, you're missing out on the project with the kids if you don't do something like this. And again, see those roots? Can't wait to show you the progress of this. And one more important fact on this is it really does have to be shallow water. You don't want to smother it. You don't want to drown it, okay? And make sure you keep these little butter bowls. Those come in real handy. Okay, now I'll get onions and stuff out of the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at this candy. Ooh-wee. Doesn't that look good? That's what your candy's going to look like. Amazing, huh? Things you can do. You don't have to spend a ton of money, and you can save all this money in this terrible economy that we've got right now. It's horrible. And a lot of people are telling me how much, and I know how it is. You're spending so much money on groceries. You don't have to do that anymore. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm about to go. You're going to hear the dog bark in just a minute. That means that 29 minutes is up, and this is a 39-minute show. But again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. Absolutely. You take care. And you also have an awesome rest of the day.